So we're going to have a look at a method of practice that you can use for part 2 of the Unit 3 SAC. So this is basically your technical demonstration and discussion. So what I have here, I'll just move across to the screen share for you, is an example that I've put together. It's something a little bit different to what I showed you earlier in the term. I've kind of revised it, and this is more so I guess now what I feel like is a very high level example. So you can see I've got a table there at the top that kind of summarizes what I feel are the key details that an exercise should be based on when you're talking about music investigation. I've then got an outline that I've put together on the method, including a basic kind of example there at the bottom. So that's about 339 words. That will take about 3 minutes or so to read through it, including a little bit of ad hoc additions as you go through. I've then got a shorter speech example there at the bottom, which basically, rather than explaining the method, is kind of outlining the key things of this method of practice or approach, and then a little something where you can add in some exercise details for what you're working on there. So when you consider the tech stack, and I've said you've got 5 exercises you've got to demonstrate, and you've basically got 10 to 12 minutes in which to do that. If the criteria is focused on what you demonstrate, then it's really important that you don't waste time in that assessment explaining what the method is. So by putting something like this together, it's actually allowing you to show that you've researched into, considered different methods and approaches of practice, that you know what you're talking about, and you're telling me the things that I should be looking for. You submit through that, and then you can actually focus on the demonstration itself. So I won't go through and read that method outline, but yeah, I timed it just before, and it does take a little over 3 minutes to kind of read through that. Alright, so here's a demonstration. Let's chuck the timer on. So I'm going to demonstrate this exercise to develop variation and flexibility in vibrato. The main piece I'm connecting it to in my investigation topic is Lonnie's Lament, which is a ballad that has lots of sustain notes. So it's really important to be able to have variation on how we use vibrato on those sustain notes. So generally, you'd set the metronome between 50 to 70 beats per minute and use a combination of different rhythm types and harmonic range. Today I'll perform at 60 beats per minute using crotchets for 4 beats, and then I'll go through quavers for 2 beats and triplets for 2 beats, just ascending over the concert pitch C Dorian scale. So it's about 2 minutes there. Now what I want to add in is a bit of a musical context kind of demonstration. So I'm going to take just the opening phrase or two of the melody and show you how I would use different vibrato with that. So the first demonstration was about 2 minutes long with about 90 seconds of playing. So obviously I had a little bit of an introduction still to kind of set up what I was going to do. So that kind of shows you it's really important to think about what you're actually going to demonstrate as part of the tech SAC, because if you just have this great method there and then you go in and you try and demonstrate all the different ways that you have practiced it or could practice it, you'll be sitting there forever. And exactly the same as with the written explanation. If you try and read and explain to me every single little detail, it's going to take a very, very long time, and that 10 to 12 minutes you have can easily be gone on 1 or 2 exercises. So it's really about balancing out that amount of time that you have and making sure that you're thinking about what you need to say versus what you've already pre-prepared and given me on paper, and then what you need to demonstrate. So obviously there's a large number of marks that are dedicated to what you actually demonstrate and perform in the SAC itself. So it's really important that you focus on that demonstration. The second little demonstration that I added in, so using the start of the melody and having the kind of approach of using improvisation once I've gone through a regimented exercise, that added on approximately another 30 seconds. So with the 10 to 12 minutes, if you had 2 to 2.5 minutes per exercise, that should kind of get you comfortably within that time frame, depending on what you want to demonstrate, of course. Like if you wanted to focus more on contextual demonstration, so showing how something that you have been practicing has greatly enhanced what you're doing as a performer, then that's obviously a decision that you can kind of make as part of that process.